Well, Avatar: The Way of Water is certainly a thing. I roasted the first one for its excessive landscape shots, wafer-thin story, and non-existent characters, but I wanted to do this one because you need content, dear viewer. Much to my surprise, this movie is a bit closer to what the first one should have been, which is strange because it basically is the first one with a different coat of paint. Let's pull it apart and see what's going on, shall we? The movie opens with a re-establishment of Jake, Neytiri, and the 4 kids that they've had since the last one. It's actually 3, but who's really counting? Some of the human science officers are still on Pandora too, but the movie calls attention to a kid named Spider. More on him later. On the positive side, the story establishes that it's good to have a dad in your life, which is a bit of a shock. Hollywood has some serious issues with portraying men positively, so it's good to see something a little different. Jake and Neytiri even have date nights. That's actually kind of sweet until they spot a new star in the sky. This is actually a small fleet of new Earth ships decelerating. When they land, the engine wash burns away a huge chunk of the forest, so Iwa sends in the deus ex machina squad. Oh, that's not happening? Why not? Sure, the story can't happen otherwise, but do you see how the introduction of a godlike force can damage a narrative? If it's coincidence or just a religion, it can motivate people to do things. The confirmation of an entity's existence throws in a bunch of unwanted questions, such as this one. Is the human colonization of Pandora actually the will of Ewa? In a lab, another avatar wakes up and starts a fight with everyone else. He's subdued by several others, and it's revealed that he's Colonel Quaritch. Okay, so death doesn't really mean much. Great. Oh, hi, Giovanni Ribisi. I guess they had to have a cameo of you here. Jake is leading hit-and-run attacks against trains through the jungle. You'd think that the RDA would have dumped money into security and aircraft that doesn't break like twigs, but I guess not. Loic and Nateum break their Overwatch positions and drop down to help, but another attack aircraft shows up. The chopper is shot down, but Nateum is injured. Therefore, Loic is grounded from flying for a month. As the wounded are treated, Neytiri says Jake is being too hard on his kids, even though they abandoned their posts and nearly got everyone killed. I don't think that we're supposed to think about that. After some horseplay with Spider, we learn that Kiri is the descendant of Dr. Augustine's avatar. It's jokingly implied that Norma's her father, but that might not be accurate. Something tells me that Cameron or one of the writers borrowed from George Lucas. Oh, and Spider is actually Quaritch's kid. Cut to Bridgehead City. We get some ominous music that surrounds the building of things. Woo, who cares? Quaritch meets with General Ardmore, who gives him a tour of the place. She says that Earth is dying, so the humans have to prepare a second home on Pandora. We don't really know if that's true, but Jake's raids are still a problem. Therefore, they're going to drop Quaritch's strike force into the floating mountains. It just so happens that Spider and the Sully kids are going to the same place. The Sullys spot Quaritch first and call it in, but the strike force manages to get the drop on the kids.
Show me your fingers.
I'll give you that one, movie. Quaritch ultimately takes the kids as hostages and calls for a flight out. Meanwhile, Jake and Neytiri push into the jungle. The resulting firefight is pretty good, especially when Quaritch employs his grenade launcher. The Sully kids get separated from Spider and everyone retreats to their corners. The scientists think that Spider has gone feral, but we don't get much more than that. Meanwhile, Jake thinks that the family should leave because Quaritch wants to eliminate them all. I don't blame him for thinking that way. It'll save lives. Oh, by the way, Spider's being tortured by some brain machine.
He's not your son.
Wait, he isn't? What? Quaritch tries to reel Spider in by claiming that he's not Quaritch and admires loyalty. What? At the same time, Jake gives up his position as chieftain to take his family away from the forest.
The father protects. It's what gives him meaning.
Damn, the movie is kind of repeating itself, but that's a blast of fresh air. After a few landscape shots, the Solis fly to a machina village on the sea. The tribe gathers around them, and we quickly learn that one of them is interested. We're not really going to get anything out of that, so don't even ask. Jake and Neytiri ask for sanctuary and receive it. However, they will need to learn the ways of the clan, which are pretty much the same as the first movie. The kids learn how to swim, and wow, it looks like it's real. Then again, we can't forget about landscape. Quaritch's strike force seems to want to go native, but they can't speak the language properly. So, maybe we're going for a stealth thriller kind of deal? Jake and the kids try to ride sea mounts. It doesn't work out all that well. Tuk and Kiri are better at it though, for some reason. Rhea teaches some breathing exercises too. Those don't work out quite as well as they should.
Your heartbeat is fast.
A young woman who strolls around in a bikini is putting her hands on a guy. How can this be? A little bit later, Quaritch repeats what Jake did in the first movie with the space pterodactyls. Jake is getting much better at managing his sea mount too. It's time for more landscape shots, but at least these have story attached to them. For instance, there's a jellyfish-like creature that can help them breathe. Oh, and Kiri can control glowing fish? That seems like foreshadowing to me. Kiri is bullied by the local kids, so her two brothers intervene. Loak takes it personally.
Call the punch, bitch!
Okay, I can dig it. Jake tells the kids to apologize to the chief, but quietly applauds their bravery. Something tells me that this is about to backfire, isn't it? The chieftain's son invites Loak out for more landscape shots. Yeah, there it is. Loak is left alone out there at the mercy of a predator. This kind of reminds me of the chase from the first movie. Only this time, Loak is saved by a whale of some kind. The whale is a tulkun that took a hit from some kind of whaling spear. Does James Cameron realize that pretty much everyone is against whaling? I mean, it's not like he'll create a total justification for it later on, right? Anyway, don't think about it. It's time for more landscape shots. Oh, Kiri can hear Awa's heartbeat too. That might keep happening. Loak returns to the village and beats the crap out of the chieftain's kids. Oh, I'm sorry, he takes the blame for their misdeed? Why? Oh, by the way, the Tulkun is named Pakayan and he's allegedly a killer. Loak disputes this because he just does, okay? A little while later, he finds Pakayan out on the water. We don't actually get any answers though. It's time for more landscape. 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 Why did this movie make $2 billion again? Kiri and Tuk go to an underwater spirit tree with the locals. This time, we actually get a scene where Kiri communes with Dr. Augustine. She asks a lot of good questions, but we don't get any answers because she has a seizure. Okay, so the scene is pretty much pointless. Ugh. Jake calls in his human friends to provide medical care. However, the wife of the chieftain thinks that acupuncture is a better idea. Really, James? You thought that this was a good idea? Out in the real world, Norm points out that Kiri might have epilepsy. She can't visit that tree again because it might kill her, but who cares? The problem's fixed. The RDA spotted the scientist's choppers, so they send out a ship, some attack craft, and blue team. Quaritch meets Scoresby and some marine biologist named Ian Garvin. They don't get much more character than that, so don't even think about it. The Tulkun return to Metcaina waters and were treated to some stories that don't really matter. Quaritch's team takes control of a village, and wait, what was the point of blending in if you were just going to do that? Quaritch orders one of his men to shoot a sea mount. That doesn't work. Spider begs for Quaritch to stop, so the colonel decides to burn the whole village instead.
This shit ain't working.
Yeah, no kidding, you idiot. Quaritch orders Scoresby to hunt Tulkun in the area. Down in the water, Loak heads into Paikan's mouth and finds a hair thing. Yeah, the RDA have been hunting Tulkun, we get that. The chieftain tells Loak that the Tolkun are pacifists and that Payakan is an outcast. Yeah, we know. Get on with this. Oh, the daughter accepts Loak for reasons. Enough of that, we have to whale. Scoresby sends out a bunch of boats with sonic weapons and even a few submarines. Every single part of the process is explained. Man, I'm sure that they won't screw this up after the fact. Right. They take down a Tolkun and drag it back to the hover ship. Once it's on board, we learn that the Tolkun might be smarter than humans. Okay, where are their city's technologies and works of art? I thought so. It turns out that the RDA is after Amrita.
Bad luck for the big guys. This stuff just happens to stop human aging, like... stops it.
Okay, hold on. You can't just say that and not expect people to react to it. This isn't like whale blubber. Humanity has a vested interest in farming this stuff until it can be synthesized. It'll open up the cosmos.
She was the composer of songs.
Like what? No, seriously, that never gets elaborated on. The Metcaina plan to go to war, but Jake talks them into warning the Tolkun instead. Loak heads off to warn Payakan. It turns out that the creature has been marked by a tracker. Jake, Neytiri, and the locals move to help them. The young ones get into a long chase with some subs. Loak, Took, and the daughter are captured because of this. Quaritch offers a trade of Jake's kids for Jake. Suddenly, Payakan gets involved and starts walloping everything on the deck. The Na'vi attack for reasons and kill a lot of humans who can't shoot for anything. Down below, Kiri kills some submariners while they're bailing out. Oh, Spider starts whacking everything with a fire extinguisher. That winds up flooding the ship. Payakan drags Scoresby's boat around. The guy loses an arm and dies. Woo. Netaim rescues the daughter and his sisters, but Kiri is captured again. As the humans abandon ship, the daughter and Took try to rescue Kiri. Took is captured again. Loak and Netaim rescue Spider only to flee when they come under fire. By the way, did you notice how many and-thens are in this script? That should tell you something. Netaim got shot. Woo. It looks like acupuncture can't treat a bullet wound. He's gone. Eclipse is here, so Jake and Spider head off to rescue the kids. After Jake creates a distraction, there's a battle on deck. Neytiri jumps in as well. They fight their way to the kids because the humans can't shoot at all. Took is safe, but Quaritch takes Kiri hostage. Neytiri plays it off with Spider and Quaritch gives up Kiri. This should be the end of it. However, Quaritch threatens Jake's family. As the guys fight it out, Took and Neytiri are sucked below deck. The ship is capsizing, so it's going to be hard to deal with what comes next. Jake manages to put Quaritch to sleep. He finds Loak, but they're stuck. Neytiri and Took are in trouble too. However, Kiri comes to the rescue with the glowing fish from earlier. She brought one of the breather fish too. Jake and Loak have to escape by themselves, but they get a little help from Payakan. Wait, it's daybreak again? How did that happen that quick? Oh, Spider saves Quaritch's life because sequels. The movie ends with a funeral for Netaim. Jake thinks it's best to move on, but he and Neytiri go to the spirit tree one more time. They talk to Netaim and that changes his mind. So, that's Avatar: The Way of Water. While it is slightly better than the original, I'm not sure why this movie made $2 billion. Most of the story is recycled, the characters are still underdeveloped, and what is new is undermined by allegorical nonsense. In short, this is a movie that would have been better off in the 19th century. Thank you so much for watching. There's more where that came from, so be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Sharing is caring as well. Thank you for all of those. If you'd like to support the channel more directly, be sure to check out the links in the description. Keep your head up, and I'll see you next time.